Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Brad. How are you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday.
Yeah, this is the only state I've ever seen in North Carolina where it can be 11 degrees last week and 75 today. This is crazy.
Yeah, I don't get that much of a swing here in Florida, but I enjoy it. We might actually be able to get in the pool this weekend.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I'll just kind of jump into it really quick. I thought it'd be interesting, maybe if you can just give a little bit of background of your career in sales, especially in the automotive industry, for some people who may not necessarily know, how long you've been in the business, and just what are some of your major wins, in your career so far.
I started with Randy 9/11 of 94, so this would be my 30th year. We opened a fleet department in 1995. General Motors was setting up a few across the country that would sell fleet. And I was a retail salesperson and was making good money and didn't want to do fleet because I always heard you couldn't make money at it. But I broke my ankle. And when I broke my ankle, I was in a wheelchair for a couple months, had to have a couple surgeries. So I decided just to manage the fleet, and I got into it in September, October of 95. And we went over 100 for the first time in March of 96. We went over 1,000 a month in probably 06, 07. We picked up multiple brands in 12 and 13. We picked up Ford. We picked up Stellantis 4 or 5 years ago, which gave us all the Ram product. We picked up Kia. We picked up Honda, Subaru. And basically the building I work in, they sell fleet for Stellantis, Ford, Chevrolet, GMC, Mullen, and soon to be the Blue Arc, which is the Shift Group is coming out with a bread truck that's electric in Q4. As far as raw numbers, with Chevrolet, all brands last year was almost 34,000. We were down last year because we couldn't get product. It was pushing 40 in 2022, 40,000. We've got the Mullens in as far as delivering the Mullens. We've got between 50 and 80 going to the Dominican Republic as campus units. George has got some going to Chicago. We've got a whole list of customers in California. We were waiting on the Carb, which got approved, I think, yesterday for the M3. So the only problem we're having is not Mullen's fault. It's not Randy Marion's fault. And I didn't think about it, and they didn't, was the financing. We've got some local banks that says they're going to come on board. Ally wants us to sell 300 to 400, and they're going to start floor planning them. That's the plan. So Randy's going to, as we sell them, we're going to pay for them, and then hopefully we'll be over 300 to 400 by the end of February, get the floor plan on them. When the floor plan comes, they will probably start financing them and doing track leases, and that's when it's going to get real. But we're hoping for just this month to sell over 100, 150 of the Mullen products.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, that was some of my questions, specifically in terms of Mullen. So you've had, I guess, a mixture between campus vans, Class 1s, and Class 3s that you've been selling so far?
Yes, sir.
And
we had to wait. The only problem on the Class 3s, I think I've already told you. When they originally sent the diagrams out to all the dealers, the body companies, they showed a 32.5-inch frame rail. And when they added the double batteries, they cut the frame rail back to 29.5 and failed to put that on their bodybuilder. It's like a instruction sheet. So when we found out they changed the frame, we were able to get an M3 to we got one to Napide. We got one to the refrigeration company in Indiana. We got one to Rockport. We got one to Utilimaster, so they could do all the measurements on it. They have since got all their measurements that they need and said we're good to go on bodies. So that hurdle is passed. So just every little thing that could happen has happened, but we've got past it. And it's just normal things that happen. Like when GM came out with a new truck back whatever year it was, 11 or 10, the body changed. And they didn't tell anybody, so the service bodies wouldn't work. The bed mats wouldn't work. Nothing would work on the truck. The hitches wouldn't work. So it takes a couple months for the aftermarket people to catch up with the factory if they don't know they're changing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. So with the upfitters though, have any of them actually completed upfitting any bodies yet? Or you mentioned they have all the measurements, but have any of them actually gotten any of these boxes put on?
Napite is the only one. They're finishing up on the dump for me right now. The only problem is the chassis, as it said, wouldn't work for a dump unless they went with a 12-footer. So they cut off, I think, 11 inches of the frame rail, and we're going with a 12-foot dump for Greg and them at MGT. He was fine with the 12. He actually wanted 12, but we couldn't get a 12-foot chassis. But Napite made it work, and they're saying it's going to be done mid-next week, and it's going to MGT.
Okay, awesome. Has Mullen provided like a delivery schedule to you? I don't need the numbers or anything like that, but just to know, like, do you kind of have an idea of like week to week, month to month, what type of deliveries you should be expecting?
Yeah, it's a whole lot. The quarter 2 starts to set 2-seaters.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's going to get. That's whenever I can ship everywhere, and we've got an outlet in California that needs 140, but they want a split of the 70 1-seaters and 70 2-seaters. So we're working on a credit line with her right now so we can get her financed. And we worked on yesterday till 2 o'clock, and she had a doctor's appointment. But we got a lot going on, and that's as honest as I know how to tell you.
Okay. And so I think you kind of just struck a little bit there. So your main office there is in North Carolina. Do you have any offices in California, or do you have some partnerships that you're working with that you're able to deal through California with?
Yeah, I've got friends of mine in the car business, Paradise Chevrolet and some other guys out there. And I just got with them. And until we get the dealer network set up, which we've got a dealer network coming, but there's not enough vehicles right now for a network. So what I'm doing now is if I'm selling them to Southern California, I'm going to ship them to AJ at Paradise. And he's going to do the delivery, and I'm just, in a Chevy term, that's called a courtesy delivery. Like I may have 30 units here for Mary Kay, the dealer in Indiana ordered, and they come here and we clean them up, and the dealer gives us $300 or $400 just to clean them up and give the keys to the customer. That's what I'll do with AJ until we get him up and running.
Okay. And then from the campus vans, just from my awareness, I know originally Randy Marin had bought 22 of those campus vans. Are you also selling some newer campus vans that Mullen's sending out to you as well, or are you just taking care of your inventory?
No, we sold the 22 first because they were in Tunica. They're going to Puerto Rico, and then there's a batch of 30 to 40 that's coming out of here probably mid-next month. We're waiting to get funded. What we do, and I have never sent anything to Puerto Rico, so instead of sending all 23 of them to Puerto Rico, I talked to Mary Ann last night. They're going to ship them to the port in Miami. They're just going to do 3. Next week, we're going to ship them to Miami and see how it goes through customs. Mm-hmm. Make sure there's no hiccups. And then as we get it down pat on how to get it through customs going to Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or whichever island it's going to go to, then we'll ship the other 40, 50, 60. And then that way, as word gets around in the islands, we've got the door open now. We know how to do it. But like I told her, I said, let's just try 3. And I'll wait on my payment because I've already paid Mullins for those. I said, just let's ship those, and she can fund me for the 3. And if we get them to Dominican and Puerto Rico in a timely manner and she's happy, then we'll ship the rest. And she said, I'm good with that. She said, let's cross one hurdle at a time. I said, I'm with you.
All right. I'm just going over some of my bullet points. So you already mentioned the alley floor plan progress. You're saying you got to get they're waiting until you get to about, was it 400 to 500 or so? 3 to 500.
See how it works. They want to make sure that there's people wanting this product because the only thing that Ally floor plans that's electric is Ford, Ram, and Ford and Ram, the Transits and all that. There's not that many of them. So they're not worried. But they're saying, when they come talk to me, I said, we're talking thousands of these units here too. I mean, thousands upon thousands. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't have said that. I think I scared them, but there's thousands going to be sold. You know what I mean? I'm going to stack them up.
Well, so that's another. So you're working on the customer financing side of things. Do you actually have some customers that are kind of sitting idle and waiting? They've already kind of committed that they want to have these purchases?
Yes.
Okay.
And then like Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, they're paying cash. The ones we got in California, the 18 to 20, 25, whatever the number is, we'll find out Monday what that number is. She's just writing a check for them, but I'm going to ship those to Paradise because he said he had plenty of room to hold them. and then we'll get funded on those, and he'll release those, and then hopefully by mid-February, I'm going to have 8 to 10 banks that'll finance them.
Okay. And for that Carb certification in California, is that something that you saw online already? Something already kind of came out in terms of that?
I didn't look online. I just know that John said we would have it middle of January, and I asked Mary Ann last night. She said she's 99.9% sure it was done. She's going to give me a copy of today, but if it's not today, it's literally any day.
Okay. All right. That's basically it. I appreciate you kind of giving me a little bit of background there. And then, so all those years, you were there in the Carolinas then, or did you kind of move around a little bit throughout the country?
No, I go store to store still. I try to go to every store, at least the Ford store and the Ram store, at least once or twice a month. But overall, back in 2019, we had a lot of property down here, and it's a building that was built in 1977. He said, I can build you a nice building, or we can get you a bunch of land. I said, I'd rather have a crappy building than a bunch of land so we can sell a bunch of vehicles. So I've got 14 guys working out of this building, and then there's another sales facility across the road. There's 8 working out of it, and we all sell all brands. And then Ford Pacific, just specific for Ford, we've got 8 salespeople up there, and there's 4 at the Ram store that just do fleet. They primarily do the Ram stuff and do the Ford stuff, but I've got 3 salesmen that's crossed over and selling the Mullen's product and some of the GMC product. Barry Halter and Steve DeLuca and all them, they do all multiple brands. And so does David Schneider. David came with us from Stellantis. He was a Southeast fleet exec, and he became our manager 2 years ago at the Ram store, and he's doing a hell of a job up there. So we've got some good people under us now. We just got to get this thing rolling.
All right. Awesome. In terms of customer, so obviously some of these are paying cash. You got any idea of when you think some of these customers will have vehicle in hand and maybe do do you ask them, the customers, if they're willing to do like a review on the vehicle after so many days?
Yeah, there are. And what we told them is we want 7 to 10 days. We want them to use the product, get a feel for it, and then we're going to go in and do some press releases with them.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Yep. That was the last thing. I appreciate your time today, Brad, for sure. And I'll try to get some of this information out to the folks. A lot of people, of course, it's been a crazy time there. So much information kind of just getting slung around everywhere. So I appreciate you kind of let me talk to you. That way I can get the information from the horse's mouth.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
All right, Brad. You take care. Have a great weekend.
You too. See you.
All right. Bye.